Good morning, guys. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that this has been a good Easter Sunday. I hope that you slept well, you have a cup of coffee, and that you're on your couch. Generally, that's where people meet, and I think that's where we can also meet Jesus. Nice in the comfortable space of our own homes. That's important. It's not just at church. It's not just when you go to a specific place, which is why we've also got an Easter Sunday message for you guys. So, on Friday, we discussed Jesus giving a sacrifice for us, and we had the options to either choose it and truly live with it, or accept it and then just put it aside. Because as we discussed on Friday, being a Christian and choosing that salvation, accepting His sacrifice, means that our life will start changing accordingly. Not because we need to, but because that's the natural result. If it rains on fertile ground, fertile soil produces fertile crops. So good things will grow, fruit trees will grow, seeds will grow, and this is what we're really hoping for. Because on Friday we discussed that, Jesus dying on the cross and what it actually meant to be washed clean. But then today we talk about the more practical side. What does it mean in our life? And I'm very excited about this because we discussed Romans 6 and 7 a few times, and now we're moving on to Romans 8, which I feel fits perfectly into the resurrection message, where Jesus is raised from the dead and now we have a full life in Him. And not what I think so many people have heard before of John 10 verse 10, where Jesus came to give us life and life in abundance, or full life. And now we're expecting cars and happiness and everything just to be perfect. Yes, that can sometimes happen, but sometimes it also doesn't. And I think for many of us, especially in this time, we have the worry that everything will turn out for the worst. But I want to reassure you guys that we need to focus on the positive things and what it actually means. So for today's message, I basically have 2 points, maybe 2.5, depending on how you want to see it. But yes, let's continue on first from where we left off in Romans, but moving on from Romans 7 to Romans 8. So in Romans 8 verse 1 it says, "There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus." Now many people stop there. And now I want to get back to what we discussed on Friday, because there's a second part to this verse where it says, "There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, comma, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit." And it's not just because there is this law or there is something that needs to come. Friends, there's an expectation, there is a result, an evidence of things that happened before. If something happened, there's always evidence, and this is what it is talking about. So there's therefore no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law is of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus, hath made me free from the law of sin and from death. So now we have that option to actually choose life, and we touched on this on Friday, and I think it's important to know this. Because if we accept Jesus and now we have a new life, we were buried with Him and now we are raised from life. What does that mean? It means everything from your past is gone. All things that you did wrong, gone. Everything that your family did in the past, it's gone. It's clean. You're starting on a new slate. And the amount of times that I've had deep conviction of people not fully grasping this message is countless. The amounts of times that I've literally cried because people don't get this message. Friends, I need you to get this. If Jesus saved you, He saved you. He doesn't save you and then expect you to know all these secret things that you need to bind and push away and just remove from your life. He washed you clean for a new family, a new life. He doesn't care what you did in the past because He washed you clean. If you said you're sorry and you truly accepted His sacrifice, that's it. I'm not being funny, that's it. You're washed clean. And I know there's added things that we need to remember regarding His love and now living that full life, but you're clean. God doesn't care that your friends or family or someone in the past had something or lived next door to a Freemason or did witchcraft or did this or did that. Friends, you're clean. That one text where it speaks about, in Leviticus, where it speaks about parents, if they do something wrong, they will be cursed till the 4th and 5th generation. That very next verse, it says, "But turn to Jesus and you will be blessed till the 1000th generation." Friends, this type of thing that so many people live in fear about after becoming Christians is false. It's a lie. It's ridiculous that we cling to this one thing we're saved, but yet we need to try and make up for everything now. No. Jesus made up for it. That's the whole point. Now we've got a new life. Which brings me to my second point. What does it mean to live this new life? Let's have a look. Does it mean that everything will work out for the best? No. It means in tough times, we hope for the future. In Romans 8 verse 18 it says, "For I reckon," and I love that word, I don't know, but I think it's because I like the old English, but the word reckon is just such a nice British word, but it just means think, because I think and I believe. "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory of the things that will be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature," can also be translated creation, "waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God." And friends, it's just amazing, because if we look at this, if we look at what Jesus did for us, now we have a hope, we have an expectation that when we die, our judgment has already been taken care of. Let that sink in for a moment. Everything that you did wrong, it's okay now. Everything that you're going to do wrong tomorrow, it's okay if you cling on to Jesus, if you persevere in the faith, and if you don't say to Jesus, "Okay, listen, I accepted you, but now you can go away." Because that's what Jesus spoke about when he told us about the parable of the seeds. And that's a harsh truth. But some people will never accept Jesus. Some people will accept Jesus and then turn away because they never had full faith. They never had persevering faith. And then there are those people who get it. Even though when they stumble, they keep reaching back to Jesus. They keep reaching back to that. The Spirit keeps on working in them. And that's the full faith. And that's what we're called for. Because the sufferings of this world, even now where we live in uncertain times, and I keep pressing on this because we're never, never, never ignoring what is going on in the world. We know what is going on. We know that things don't look great. But in that suffering, we hold on to hope. We hold on to that eternal hope. Because as we're reassured in one of my favorite verses, Romans 8 verse 28, the latter part of Romans 8, where it says, "And we know that all things work together for good." And this is once again where people stop. And now they're thinking, no, but all things work out for, and so many people look at this and they say, no, but all things work out together for good. And that's great. So now that means everything will be perfect. No, it says, "And all things work together for good to them that love God and who are called according to His purpose." So whose purpose is this? Is this your purpose or my purpose or God's purpose? According to God's purpose. And friends, this is the amazing thing. If I think of the changes that has happened in Sophia and I's life in the past year, it's ridiculous. If you told me a year and a half ago I'd be living in Bathurst, and no disrespect to Bathurst, I always thought big city life. Between Sophia and I, we've lived in big cities. We've lived in London. I've lived in Beijing. She's traveled Europe. We've traveled Asia. We love big cities. We love, the busyness of it, the life. And then we came here, and then God just said, but listen, I've got a new purpose for you. There's a purpose where now we're experiencing true life. This morning I was doing proper gardening and actually planting some stuff. We've got chickens walking around, and now I'm experiencing the love and the life of God in nature. So much more than what I saw in cities, and there's nothing wrong with cities. But there's something tangible about God when we look at nature. But if you go to cities, we see everything that man made. We see man-made buildings. We see man made this, man made that. And I'm thankful for where God took me in His purpose. If we keep on clinging on to our purpose, we'll never see His purpose. And His purpose is so much fuller. And that's when He's able to work in us, when we're able to change lives. Just like what I'm hoping and trusting for that's happening with these videos that I'm sending out while people are not able to actually go to church, where people are forced to be at home, where they're forced to actually reflect on their life and where are they going in the future, because these are uncertain times. And once again, we're not ignoring it. We're not being pretentious and saying everything will be great. Sometimes things will be sucky, just like, as He said, the sufferings of this world. And He's speaking to Christians who were persecuted, who were killed. Friends, we have a new life, and I want to encourage you, put the old behind you and strive for this new life. We have a new life and a new hope in Jesus, and that's what we're supposed to cling on to. I pray that this message means something to you. And I pray that the same message resonates in my heart. And I don't know, for some reason, Sophia and I were speaking last night and we used the word resonate. And for some reason in my mind's eye, I just kept on seeing this. It's like the sound wave that just keeps on repeating, repeating, repeating. And that's what I want this message to do. The old is past and the new is wonderful. You've got a new life in Christ. It doesn't mean that everything will be great, because it won't. And we'll touch on that next week or next time. But there's something beautiful and fulfilling about actually living that life that Christ purposed you for. And it means you can't fail, because that's why He created you. He created you for that purpose. So now, take it on with both hands. Live it. Friends, I'm going to love and leave you. I hope that you have a wonderful Sunday, and I hope that this means something to you. If you, once again, as I mentioned last time, if you felt I missed anything, share it with someone. That's the whole idea, because God, while I'm speaking, God shares something on your heart that He really wants you to either know or share. So guys, use this time, spend some time with Jesus, spend some time with family, and have hope for the future. Bless you.